topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Good morning, Houston. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show. We bring you the finest experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. I received a letter about 2 weeks ago, and our big expert coming on will know this city. He was from Conroe, Texas, and he said, I've been listening to your shows for 2 years. It's one of the few podcasts I love listening to. You've always got so many great guests on. But he said, do you personally endorse all your experts? Well, this show is not an endorsement. This show is to educate you. And the only reason why I'm bringing this up is our guest this morning, who's been with us probably 12 years, is probably the only expert that I truly endorse. And I endorse him because not just because he's a great guy, has a great family, but I endorse him because I have seen when it comes to tax resolution, companies, no matter how big or how small, come in and they go away. Barry has been around forever. And that means his clients not only love what he does, but they turn him on to other clients. And I've watched this over the years. So I would say that Taxation Solutions, Barry Fowler, is probably one of the only of about 40 shows we do that I truly endorse. Good morning, Barry Fowler.
Hey, good morning. Man,
How
glad to be
about that?
here. You know, it's a great day all the time when I can be on Ask the Experts and helping people with their tax problems and getting information out there. We've had a lot of work to do over the last couple of weeks going through and interpreting
Yes.
a wonderful new one big, beautiful bill that Trump signed on July 4th, of all days, Independence Day. And, 900 and some odd pages to go through to decipher tax law for our clients and how to help them through that tax law and what the impacts it's going to have, not just this year, but next year and the next many years to come.
Barry, everybody asks and I'm so sick of hearing this, and this is not a political show, but they go, the new bills only for the rich. I know I'm not even the tax, but I know that is totally untrue, but I'd rather them hear that from you.
Okay, so let me ask a question. When's the last time you saw a rich person being a waiter, a waitress, somebody that's getting tipped? When's the last time you saw a rich person that is really concerned what money they're getting from Social Security and whether that little bit they're getting is taxed? You're getting a $6,000 tax credit and then it gets phased out. You're getting where you have no tips and that gets phased out at income levels that are relatively low, or they consider to be what they would say, I'm talking politicians would say, is rich. If I've ever talked to anybody that's making $120,000 a year, they don't consider themselves rich. Yes, if you're making 30 or 40,000, 120,000 sounds rich, but it's not that top 1% that's out there. they're going to get tax breaks through business tax breaks. But you got to remember, if you're given a business tax break, it helps them keep the cost of their goods down, which means you're paying less for the goods that you're buying. If they were being fully taxed, guess who's going to pay it? You and I, when we go to the store. They're going to embed those costs that they've got to pay into the cost of their, products. So, when you're saying it's helping the rich, yeah, there are some things that help to the rich, but it also helps them to provide more jobs for people because they do get some tax breaks, and it keeps people employed. And I think that's the benefit. I mean, every employer goes through the same thing, just like we do. If I hire a new person and in my business, I hire them because I really want to grow the business and I want to bring on new clients and I want to do more for our clients. But that person, until they start bringing in clients and helping us produce revenue, is a cost directly out of my pocket. It hurts my bottom line. It hurts what goes to my family. And I've got to make a certain amount of money to support my family. And therefore, I'm the one that's paying for them to come in. So any incentive I have to hire more people helps me bring those people in so I can increase revenue so that I can increase employment. That's just the way it works.
So you're basically saying that it's not just for the rich, that there's something in there for everybody.
Hey, there's a lot of things in there that are, regular everyday taxpayer. I mean, you're talking about the $6,000 tax credit for those that are retired, 65 and older. You're talking about no tax on tips. You're talking about no tax on overtime. And again, I don't see a rich person working and getting compensated overtime for the hours they put in. Elon Musk works many, many hours a day. I don't think he hits his companies for overtime when he's working to improve the product and improve what he puts out there, to gain more sales and gain more interest within what he's out there producing, whether it's SpaceX, Tesla, or whatever it is. The rich are not out there earning the overtime. It's going to be the people that are working. It's the everyday person.
Yeah, that is so correct. Barry, you've got so many things going on with Taxation Solutions. And sometimes we wait till towards the end of the show. I want to do this at the beginning of the show today. You've got so many things that you do for truckers, the new playbook that you have out. Can you share that with everybody about what's going on with Taxation Solutions?
Well,
and take your time.
Taxation Solutions, tax relief. We're here to support every taxpayer, individuals, businesses. If you pay tax, you owe tax. That is what we do, is provide that tax relief. We fight against the IRS every day, whether it's just putting holds in place so that we can put the right program in there for you. Maybe you've received that certified letter that says, we're going to levy your bank account. It's time to act. It was time before that to act, but if you just got that today, hey, call us. Let's act now and start putting the holds in place so we can put something together for you. And you got to call 877-996-6477. Again, 877-996-6477. Now, being that we've helped people, and when we got started back in 2008, a lot of our clients that were coming to us were truckers, over the road. They're hauling goods all across the country. How much time do you think those people have to actually do bookkeeping, much less do their taxes, much less how much time do they get with their families? And when you look at all that, hey, if you are employed and you're working a 40-hour work week, you get to come home every night to your family and spend time with your family. If you're an over-the-road trucker, which if you see one of them, you should thank them, because they're taking a lot of time away from their family. They don't return home at night to spend time with their family. So when they get home, they need somebody that'll actually do their bookkeeping, do their taxes, keep them up to date, and guide them. And they came to us once we bailed them out of some tax problems and filed a lot of tax returns for them, and said, man, can you help us? Can you do bookkeeping for us? Can you do taxes for us? And we said, yeah. And then they come back and said, can you do it at a reasonable price? Because we don't make a lot of money. Fuel costs, load prices down, fuel costs up, cuts into the bottom line. Hey, we worked with them with a new company that we created, our sister company, Trucker Tax Tools, truckertaxtools.com, and put a program together for truckers where we do their bookkeeping, we do their taxes, we keep them up to date on their estimated tax payments, we do tax planning for them, consulting for them, all for one low price. And it helps them because they don't have to worry about it. They can email us their settlement statements. They can send us PDF bank statements, cash receipts, you name it. They've got it. Soon we're going to have a new app up and running for them that's going to make it even easier for them. And so we developed all this stuff for truckers just to help them. And we do this nationwide for truckers across the board. And again, it's truckertaxtools.com. They can call the same taxation solutions number of 877-996-6477. Again, 877-996-6477. And we can give them a quote, start them on their program right away. We have great specials. And then being that we're so involved with the trucking industry and helping truckers with their taxes and bookkeeping, association called Owner Operator Independent Drivers Association, OOIDA. It's one of the largest trucking associations that's out there, has us come out and speak at a great event that they put on called Truck to Success. And that's where truckers that are maybe W-2 drivers, or maybe they're just getting started owning their own business as an owner operator, they can come to this seminar and hear everything about trucking and setting up your own trucking company, everything from getting your own authority to what kind of drug testing you got to have, medical testing. And of course, I get to come out there and speak about bookkeeping, taxes, lease purchase, depreciation, and entities. Now, I talk about entities even though I'm not a lawyer, never wanted to be a lawyer, and don't charge legal fees. Yeah, I got that disclaimer down really good, don't I, Steve-O? But I have fun, and I get to talk to truckers and spend 3 days talking with them. People ask me, why do I go out there? Is because, one, I want to get information out to people, just like I do this show, and I do our own radio show called Tax Talk For You, which if you want to listen to that one, you can go to taxtalkforyou.com. You can follow us over there, or follow us on Facebook. And then, of course, all the podcast sites have all of our episodes out there as well. But I like to go to those seminars just to sit in the lobby every evening and talk to truckers and find out, hey, what's motivating them to be in this business? What's it taking for them to get out and move from being what you might call security blanket of a W-2 driver to being an owner operator and wanting to be out on their own? And you may come to that seminar and decide, hey, I don't want to be an owner operator. I'd rather just continue being a W-2 driver. Hey, that's great. That makes that seminar just as worth it as if you decide, hey, this is really what I want to do, and I got to do all these things just to become a owner operator or own my own company and have multiple trucks. So you can go to ooida.com or .org, but look it up, Truck to Success, OOIDA, and you'll be able to find that great seminar and join us in October as well.
Barry, tell people, we hear this enrolled agent, and people don't really know what that means.
Well, enrolled agent, my dad didn't even know. My dad, when I became an enrolled agent back in early, I think 2002 or somewhere around there, I was a CPA as well. And my dad goes, "What's an enrolled agent, son? Are you now working for the IRS? How dare you?" And I went, "Dad, whoa, wait a minute. No, I don't work for the IRS. Matter of fact, I work against the IRS, just like I always have before. But this license, and I have to renew it every 3 years, is offered by the U.S. Department of Treasury. And they give you the enrolled agent's license. You had to be tested on purely tax. And I mean, we had to go through an exhaustive, basically 2.5-day testing. Back then it was pen and paper, but you had to be tested on your tax knowledge. And when I was going through testing, you had a lot of CPAs and other people that were out there taking the test that had failed it over and over and over again. I was like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? And I passed the test the first time. Hey, I thought it was fairly easy, but I've been in the tax industry for 15, 20 years prior to that. So I pretty much knew everything about taxes. I specialized in taxes. So, I got approved, had to file for a background check, and then you become an enrolled agent once they list it. So I'm licensed by the U.S. Department of Treasury to represent taxpayers to the highest levels of the IRS. It means that, hey, I've got the knowledge to represent you and help you and fight the IRS every single way possible that's out there. And that's what we do is representing you. We step into your boots, and you never have to talk to the IRS. All you do is help us. You give us information that we need to go to fight the IRS and keep them from taking everything you have, levying your bank account, garnishing your wages, garnishing your Social Security. Yes, they can do that. You name it, we go out there and do it. And we've got a lot of tools in our arsenal to be able to do that.
Barry, we had a gentleman write us yesterday. We started promoting your show here several days out. And he said he would like it if you'd talk more on business when it comes to tax relief. And you absolutely handle businesses. You do a lot of work with businesses. And what is some of the biggest problems that you see with businesses when it comes to the IRS?
Well, businesses generally run into the problem, and I'm going to say 3 different ways because we've seen this more and more lately. But the first way is not paying payroll taxes, and it becomes a major issue with the IRS. And then you've got to worry about everything from them putting civil penalties against the owners, managers, anybody that signs on the checking account, to levying your clients out there and having the payments come to them instead of going to you. Now, we've seen people not filing timely, forgetting when extensions are due, and they're not working with somebody that actually knows the business returns, and they forget to file extensions. So you get penalties out there, and those penalties can be exorbitant every year if you're missing the deadlines and not getting the extensions in. And then the last one, and we've seen this more often than not, is you went out and established your business a couple of years ago, and you went out and you did the business Widgets Inc., and you filed for your employer identification number, and you wanted to be an S Corp, but you never filed the paperwork for it. And now their IRS is 3 years later asking you for your 1120s, which is a corporate tax return, and you filed 1120Ss. And then you've got to go back and either file those returns and pay the taxes and penalties because your business made money, or you have to go in and have somebody that knows how to do a late election and get the S Corp status accepted for those years you've already filed for. And then we've seen where people have set up multi-member LLCs and they've reported it to the IRS, but when they go to one of these storefronts and they, oh yeah, I got an LLC and I'm a single member, they don't ask to see the EIN letter. And maybe 3 years down the road, the IRS is looking for partnership returns because you reported it that you had 2 people or more that own the company, and therefore you were a multi-member LLC required to file partnership returns. And not only that, on either one of those, you check the box that you're going to have employees, and you never filed 941s, 940, or W-2s for any of those years because you really didn't have them. You were just getting started, but you didn't really employ anybody. But guess what? Even though you didn't have employees, because you checked that box on that EIN letter, it said directly under what returns you got to file. You have to file these 941s, you got to file the 940, and when it starts. And if you don't do that, the IRS can assume you have employees and assume how much you paid them and assume how much you did federal withholding. And now you owe the money to the IRS. And you've got to fight that as well.
You know, Barry, I've learned from you that with a business owner, you try to handle this yourself and see how many hours you spend on the phone just trying to get somebody on the phone when it's so much easier to hire a company like Taxation Solutions. Let them handle it all for you. So
we get people all the time, Steve, right? that want to do it yourself, DIY. Right. I'm a DIY guy out on the ranch, although my wife's standing behind me with the telephone, actually calling some professional to fix what I'm about to do. But, that's a whole other story. And then it costs me double because I've really screwed it up. Or, every time I'm dealing with electricity, I have learned to turn the power off or at least flip that breaker where I'm working at it. Otherwise, she's probably going to be calling an ambulance because I'll be laying on the floor and shock of my life. But, you learn over time what you can do and what you can't do and what your limitations are. And I tell you, when dealing with the IRS, there's a difference between us doing it and you doing it. And I'm going to tell you, one of the biggest differences I tell people all the time, it's less stressful to hand this off to somebody else. It becomes less argumentative if you hand it off and let somebody else deal with it. Because, when it comes to money, we're all emotionally attached. That's my money. And the IRS is emotionally attached as well. Because if you put the two words together, the IRS, everything you have, they think is theirs. So they are emotionally attached as well because that is theirs. Even if you don't have the money to pay, even if you know you can't afford to pay them, they think they can because that is theirs. You took the money from them. So now, the IRS is going to tell you one thing, you're saying another thing, and it becomes a very emotional time for you. And it's hard to come to an agreement when you're being very emotional over what the IRS is saying. Now, you may not have laid out everything perfectly. You may not have been able to support what you've told the IRS. You may have exaggerated something or didn't answer something 100% correct because they don't ask simple and easy, straightforward questions. They kind of shoot around things and then go, hey, what do you got in your bank account? Or what was your average balance in your bank account? And you just
Right.
throw a number out there. You didn't look. You have $125 in there. But you just got paid. And so now, and your wife just got paid. So now you got 4,000 in there. You answer 4,000. They go, oh, great. Send us the money. You know, the IRS, they don't care. They don't care if you can pay for your next meal or whether you can pay for your house or what you can pay for or what you can't pay for, because they want the money. Why? Because they're the biggest, baddest, nastiest collection agency in the world. And we've learned how to deal with them. You know, we've even taken, because we know how people are. You said it yourself, people like DIY, right? So we took, okay, Steve, you're going to make me do this, aren't you? We took all our knowledge and put it into a IRS playbook. You can go to irsplaybook.info. Now, what I meant by Steve was going to make me do this is I have to give credit somewhere where credit is due. I'm not going to do it. I put this together, okay? I did it. So pat me on the back. And then you can go.
Meg doesn't walk in.
Okay. But you know, it's our three. It's, you know, we put this together. It's, you know, I've been doing this for over 30 years. I'm probably closer to 40 now. And this is the playbook that we have used. And it's our 3 simple steps we use to fight against the IRS, to get you the plans that we need to do to save you money and help you every step down the road. So if the IRS is ruining your life, it's really time to take the power back. I mean, you should hire us, but if you want to do it yourself, hey, this is the place. You can go to irsplaybook.info. Again, that's irsplaybook.info. It's just pure information for you. And you can get our IRS playbook out there of what we do, the 3 simple steps to beat the IRS. And that's where we try to help people every day. All right, Steve, we'll give credit where it goes.
Okay. Hey, you know, I didn't tell you this about 3 or 4 months ago, because we're on nearly 100 platforms now. W4CY is one of the largest in the country. And we start now asking questions, how people who write us, how did you hear about us? And it's amazing. And I'm bringing this up because we just got a text from somebody. He said, I always enjoy your shows. I'm listening on Spreaker. Now, I had to ask Rebel yesterday, what is Spreaker? Because we're getting all these people listening on Spreaker. But she's got a great question, though, Barry. She said, I'm a secretary. This is in Sugarland. She said, I am a secretary here. My boss is, IRS is going after my boss. I do the bookkeeping. Can the IRS come after me as well?
So
that's a pretty good question.
It is a great question. The first couple things that we would ask you is, are you a signer on the checking accounts? Do you make a decision on what gets paid and what doesn't get paid? And if you're not in a position of responsibility like that, just doing bookkeeping, no, you're not going to get in trouble. Now, if you are a signer on the checking accounts and you make a decision that he should pay this bill or he should pay that bill, or she, whoever you're working for, then yes, the IRS could possibly hold you accountable. That's out there. What I tell you is, tell your boss. I mean, we're here just outside of Houston area, up in Cypress, Northwest Houston. Tell your boss, get on the phone right now and call us. 877-996-6477. Again, that's 877-996-6477. Let us put a hold, let us stop the IRS. You know, what we've seen is the IRS comes in and they start taking money out of the bank accounts, and it's really hard to make payroll. really hard to make the next estimated tax payment or make the payroll tax payments that are made when the IRS is taking the funds that are out there, much less stay in business, pay for, whether it's a manufacturing business or a service business, paying those costs that you need to be able to produce or provide that service is really hard when the IRS is involved. And basically, sometimes it causes that company to shut down. Now, the IRS isn't intending necessarily to put you out of business, but, sometimes good intentions aren't there. It's the intention of getting the owner to start paying attention to them, and it's a wake-up call. So before you get that wake-up call, let's get in front of it, put a stop to it, keep you in business, get you on the right track, get you to where you're following what's supposed to be done, and then put a plan in place with the IRS, something that you can afford or he can afford, and allow you to continue to operate and keep those people employed, because that's important too. And it's important to everybody that works for you that they get a paycheck, every week or every 2 weeks. If the IRS is taking everything, you're not just affecting the business owner, it's affecting every single person that works for the business, and even every vendor that works for the business that can't get paid. So it becomes important, if you've got a business tax problem, make that phone call, start getting us involved to stop the IRS. And again, it's 877-996-6477. Again, 877-996-6477. And I'll tell you what, Steve, there's a lot of people getting into this tax resolution, tax relief business out there. I see it every day. Anybody can do this, anybody can do that. There's very few companies like mine, Taxation Solutions, that can say they've been with the Better Business Bureau probably since 2008, have maintained an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. We do what we say we're going to do. We get it done. Sometimes it takes a little longer than others because of the problem and the solution that has to be put in place. But we work very closely and keep you in 100% in the loop, sometimes too much in the loop, according to some of our clients that we call them too many times. But you've got the information, and we need the information from you to fight the IRS. It helps build, that arsenal that I've got behind me to stop the IRS from doing the things that they do and get the right solution.
Barry, you know what? I think the biggest question, and I know you get this all the time, the biggest question that we hear is, what do I do if I don't have the money to pay the IRS?
That's really easy. Stick your head in the sand and hope it goes away. I'm sorry, we used to run commercials like that, and that was the first thing that came to my mind. That actually the first thing to do is take that envelope that you received that you didn't open that tells you that you're going to be levied, and throw it in the circular file. That always helps too. All it really does is it helps the IRS take money from you. I'll be honest. You can go to irsplaybook.info and see the 3 simple steps that we follow and that we do. What I really suggest is get somebody that has the knowledge. I'll be honest, if it's not taxationsolutions.net, Taxation Solutions Tax Relief, and it's not calling us at 877-996-6477, call somebody. Sometimes your local CPA knows what they're doing. Other times they've maybe only represented one client. Are they the best at it? No, they don't have the years of experience that I do. Sometimes you call one of those firms out of Florida or California or Chicago. Are they the best? Hey, sometimes go look at their ratings. see the comments that you see about those companies before you jump into them. If you want to know about us, go to the Better Business Bureau in the Houston area, and you can look and see that we have an A+ rating out there. I'm proud of that. We keep that. We don't ask every one of our clients to give us reviews. They do it on their own. So you don't see tons of reviews out there on us because we don't even ask. We want this is a private matter for you. So why should you go out there and announce to everybody else that, yes, we fixed your tax problem? If you have a bad comment about us or you feel gracious and want to go make a great comment about us, we ask you to go to the Better Business Bureau or go to Google or wherever you want to put your review. We're proud of what we do and how we do it. We're proud that we keep everybody in the loop. We're proud that we have the information, the knowledge, and the years of experience to fight the IRS every single day. And man, when you start dealing with the IRS yourself, if you're using those 3 simple steps in that IRS playbook.info, you're going to find out that those agents try to take advantage of you. Don't always know everything about the tax code or the way they've got to collect or the things that they got to do, but you will know if you're dealing with us and you're working with us that myself, my staff, all have the knowledge to fight against the IRS to save you as much money as possible, put you in the right program. If it's a offering compromise, if it's a partial pay installment agreement, maybe it's non-collectible status, maybe it's a full pay installment agreement, maybe it's a stepped installment agreement, whatever it has to be, we know how to work within the program to get you there. We just took a client that had dealt with somebody else. Matter of fact, they charged him, I think, $5,000 and complained to me when he signed up with us that all you're going to do is take my money like somebody else did. And I said, hey, look, hold me accountable, whatever you want to do. And the guy goes, I will. Within 2 months, we managed to put him into a non-collectible status, get the IRS to where they're going to delay collections because he's not making enough money. And in the meantime, while he's in non-collectible, we are going to be able to see that probably close to $20,000 of his $60,000 in debt is going to fall off because the statute of limitations is going to run out. The other company he was working for didn't manage to do anything for him, but all they wanted to do is put him into a $1,000 a month installment agreement, which he would have paid every bit of that $20,000 that would have fallen off if he was in that installment agreement and never been able to make any ends meet on the personal side. And we were able to show the IRS this guy cannot be collectible, does not have enough money coming in, and he can sit there. Now, if he gets his life straightened out, gets a new job, starts making more money, in a couple of years, we can put him in a different program. But we will have saved him at least 20 grand right off the top, maybe more depending on how things go. So you get a chance to straighten your life out and make things a little bit better.
Barry, I got to say this, I never have much planned with your show because we get a lot of people texting us, and I've got a really good text that I want to read you we just got, but I've been doing this show for 15 years. Barry knows that because he's been with me nearly 15 years. And I got to tell you, Barry doesn't have time to do this. He's too busy saving people who are in hot water with the IRS. But I do so much due diligence, and I see so many companies that say they will help you with your taxes, pennies on the dot, whatever. I can't tell you. I would say probably 80% of those businesses aren't even around any longer. And when you've got a company like Taxation Solutions that's been around for over 30 years, That should tell you something right there, because people are a little nervous about giving their money to a company that they've never done business with before. But I got to tell you, this is why one of the things I said about endorsing taxation solutions. I have seen it. And the biggest complaint that people have with these other companies is once they pay them the money, it's like pulling hair to try to get them to return a phone call. You're not going to have that with taxation solutions, right, Barry?
Oh, no, no way. We still answer the phone with a live person, not AI. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Um, and if we're not open after hours, we've got an answering service. They text multiple people at our office if there's some emergency, somebody's available. Um, we try to be here to be of service. Now, I laugh, and I get on Facebook, I get on Instagram sometimes, and I get on some of these other ones, and I think was really funny, and I think this is fitting. I've seen where somebody out there is marketing that you can do tax resolution, you can add it to your service. We're going to teach you how, and it doesn't matter if you really don't know how or you can't do it. At least if you're trying, you'll be okay, because you can't do no wrong. What? I don't understand that. If you haven't been in this business and you don't know this business, don't get into this business just to learn on somebody else's dime and somebody else's back, because you hire somebody and all of a sudden you've been levied and your wages are being garnished because the guy is incompetent. You hired the wrong company. You need somebody with experience. It's kind of like this guy online talking about bookkeeping service, and we compete against this in Trucker Tax Tools and helping truckers out, because somebody's always willing to undercut you to get somebody's business from you. Right. And they express that they have knowledge. The guy goes, see this pen or pencil? Would you classify this as marketing, or would you classify this as office supplies? And if you said office supplies, you can do bookkeeping. Well, I'll be doggone. I can teach you how to do bookkeeping in 3 days. That's nice. You taught them how to classify something, not how to do bookkeeping, not what an asset is, not how to do a balance sheet, not how to do a financial statement, but how to just go into QuickBooks, or like we use Xero, and classify something and just put it down. And I got people that can do this all day long that I can pull in off the street and do the same doggone thing and be unqualified and give you nothing. And sometimes that's the way I feel about resolution business, is you've taken that same pencil. Somebody says, yes, I can classify this as office supplies, therefore I can do IRS resolution. I tell you, get rid of those people, ditch those people, look for somebody with experience, somebody that's been in business a long time. Taxation Solutions has been around since 2008. I've been in this industry fighting the IRS for close to 40 years now. I vowed a long time ago I wasn't going to work for another company or anybody else. And now I work for you, the American people, all across the board. I am held responsible to you in your life, in your financial situation. And then we turn around and help you fix your financial situation so that you can pay less to the IRS, either keep more money in your pocket or fix what you have broken in your own financial life to make things better. Now, this doesn't work for everybody, but I took somebody the other day and I looked at his financials and I went, based on where you're at, you would be paying the IRS $500 or $600 a month. But you've got an old car and you have no car payment. And the IRS allows you to make this car payment. So if you go out and buy a car that has this payment of $500, you would only pay $50 a month to the IRS. How does that sound? And the CSEDs will go away within that same 5 or 6 year period that you're paying for that car. So who paid for the car? You or the IRS? Well, I am. No, the IRS is technically paying for your car, because if you don't pay the $500 on the car, you pay it to the IRS. So you just pulled the $500 from the IRS and paying for your car. Now, it doesn't work for everybody, so don't go running out and buying a car because Barry Fowler, the enrolled agent, said, buy a car and we can deduct this. No. It's one of the tools that we use to fix your financial situation based on where you are. Somebody once told me, hey, you said I could buy a car. Whoa, wait a minute. You didn't listen to the whole thing. We've got to do a complete tax analysis, sit down with you, look at a financial analysis, and determine everything that you can do and where you're at to make this situation perfect. You're already paying on 2 cars. Buying another car doesn't help you. Buying a car for your daughter doesn't help you. You know, you're only allowed to have those 2 cars, you and your spouse. If it's just you, it's just one. So we've got to make it make sense. It's got to work within the IRS rules, and we got to do it 100% correctly within the law and the way it's allowed to be done to help you.
Barry, I think the beauty of your business is it has got to be the worst feeling having the IRS after you. I would say sleepless nights, problems with your wife or relationship. It just causes so many problems in your life. And here you have a chance to turn this problem over to someone who knows what they're doing, and you don't have to deal with it anymore. It's got to be the greatest feeling, Barry.
Hey, you know, Steve, I got a deal for you. You really want to know how it feels?
Oh,
hey, don't pay your taxes for the next 2 years. So just skip out paying your taxes for the next 2 years. And then when we're doing one of our shows, when you hire me to save you from the IRS, then you can actually give 100% knowing exactly how it feels to have the IRS coming down on you. You want to try that?
Nope. No.
Hey,
but if I did, I know who I want to represent me, though. I know that.
You know, I don't suggest it to anybody. You know, not my best friend, not my worst enemy, and definitely not my great host here on the show that loves to have me on here. And I don't.
You better say that.
I am not having you back. You made a bad suggestion to me. You know, when I'm talking to people on the phone, I could hear it in their voice within days of hiring us. You know, they're relieved. The stress is off their back. A real nice older couple was talking to me, and they're trying to build a house, and they took money out of retirement. They owed $60,000 one year. They owe another $60,000 the next year. They have the wherewithal to pay the IRS back, but all they're worried about is being able to get this house built, and they have contracts and everything else. And, you know, basically what I told them is, hey, we know how to stop the IRS. We can delay the IRS. We can put them on a simple payment plan for the time being, and then get the resolution once the house is built and you have the loans on the house, and maybe you can pay off the debt. The relief of that alone changed the absolute tone of the people that I was talking to. And knowing that, hey, the stress came over to me to deal with the IRS and put them in a good solution. And that's what we're doing. And that's what we do for everybody. But I'll tell you what, I can't give that relief to anybody that doesn't pick up the phone and call us at 877-996-6477. Again, 877-996-6477. It's a no judgment zone. We pass no judgment on you. You can also go to taxationsolutions.net, put in your contact information, and we'll get in touch with you. We'll call you, and that's the only way we reach out to you. So,
and when's your show, Barry? Your show is on When's your show? On Monday?
Oh, Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern time on W4CY Radio. Connect with us at taxtalk4u.com or taxtalk4u on Facebook, Instagram, you name it, we're there. You can see our podcasts on all the podcast hosting sites.
Barry's with us each month. We do a national show together. We do a Houston show together. Barry, I love you, bro. You're
man,
the
I love
best.
the show, man. It's great.
I'll
Make sure
see
you
you
check
soon.
out everything with Ask the Experts. I mean, they're on YouTube and all the other places out there. You can look at all of our shows. Steve-O, you're great. Man, you guys get great information out there. So make sure you check out Ask the Experts.
That's Barry Fowler, Taxation Solutions. Thanks, Barry. That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.